Today, I would like to talk about Fightcade and why I think it's important for it to exist alongside modern fighting games. Mainly how it lets you play these old classics that longtime members of the FGC praise as being some of the best in the genre. Whether or not that's true is subjective, but being able to play these games with great online and relatively quick rematch makes me appreciate them regardless. Some of the features in Fightcade are ones I would like to see implemented in modern games. Typing text during a game and deciding how many games you would like to play with someone when ranking up. It offers one of the smoothest online experience for playing fighting games while also being the sole place that enables online play with these older games. I'd like to talk about my experience with it and how I've discovered new fighting games that I've come to really enjoy. The games I have played so far are Vampire Savior, Third Strike, Street Fighter Alpha 2, and KOF 2002. I'll be trying other games, but for now this is what I've started with. In a lot of ways, these old games are easier to jump into and just start playing. The advanced tech isn't necessary to learn, but it is there in case you would want to learn it. For example, car throws in Third Strike feel incredibly intuitive for pad users, so for me, I never really use it. I also play Chun, so I have other great tools to make up for not using that tech. These games are considered ones that rely on good old-fashioned footsies and solid neutral play, but I think a lot of that is a misunderstanding and imply these games have nothing that is cheap or abusable. VSAV has characters that can hop for their dash, which basically means they have access to instant overhead. I tried both Lilith and Felicia. It was difficult to get a hit in with Lilith because she didn't have the hop as her dash, but once I made the switch to Felicia, the game gets a lot easier. Not only can she do a hop dash into a heavy kick, which basically covers half the screen, she can also empty jump into a low or a grab. I found that it's nearly impossible to consistently react to a bolt for me and my opponent. Neutral consists of jumping constantly and hop dashing around for quick pressure, making use of your grounded normals when necessary. The game having chain combos makes it one of the more beginner friendly ones compared to the others I've played. I put the least amount of time into this one, but I had fun and will eventually come back to play it largely due to how much I enjoyed the fast pace of the game. KOF 2002 was the one I also had interest in playing, seeing it has more active players in this version than Unlimited Match does on Steam. Majority of the people playing it are from Europe, so sometimes it took me a bit to find a decent match. I enjoyed my time with the updated release on Steam, but once the player base died down a bit, it was harder to find matches with decent connections, so I thought the Fightcade version would be better. I probably spent more time labbing things out than playing. Even trying to get basic jump into the ground combos is difficult due to how strict the timing is. I mentioned earlier that these games are easier to jump into, but to do certain combos or actions, your timing and motion inputs have to be on point. For KOF, I struggled with this quite a bit to the point where if I even hit a jump in into a combo, I was satisfied. Other than that, you mainly just run or short hop around for movement and roll to get past certain moves or projectiles. It's like a faster paced Street Fighter with more movement options, so it stands out among the other neutral based fighters. I mainly use Athena, Kula, and Blue Mary, which may have been a mistake because they all aim for different things with their gameplay. Athena's fireball game can be incredibly oppressive, while Kula's toolkit in general is good for most situations. For Blue Mary, I mainly spam that command grab with iframes. It worked way more than it should have, and I had a lot of fun hitting people with it. Overall, I'd say I enjoyed my time with the game, but I'd rather just wait for KOF 15 to come out for a more accessible experience. On to the games I played the most, starting with Street Fighter Alpha 2. I had some great sets with this one, and is the most grounded game out of the ones I tried. Usually games without things like dashes or movement options other than walking don't interest me, so I wasn't expecting to enjoy any of the older Street Fighter games, but come to my surprise, I had a lot of fun. It could be the great sprite work or a fantastic soundtrack that helped elevate the experience, but I was constantly motivated to keep playing. For this one, I played Sakura, who was pretty damn good in this game according to what I looked up. Whip punishing has never been a huge focus of how I play, so for a game like this where it's almost required to be good at to excel, it was a bit of a struggle to adjust my gameplay for that. Again, there's not many complex mechanics going on here. Just making smart use of your normals and good spacing can get wins without learning difficult combos. Sakura does have a pretty nasty cross-up mix after her kick throw, so I relied on that a lot early on, but found it made my pressure lacking because I would get mashed on a lot if I went for it too much. The one unique system in this game is the custom combo mechanic, which is just what it sounds like. It gives your character the ability to combo all of their moves together for a small amount of time. It's activated using 2 punches and 1 kick button, or vice versa. I don't know if being on pad was the issue, but I had a lot of trouble getting this off consistently. It has iframes on startup, so I tried using it as a reversal or anti-air to varying degrees of success. The timing for pressing all the buttons at the same time felt too strict, and I ended up not using it much as a result. It was a fun system to mess with in training mode though. Overall, I had a blast with this game, and will definitely come back to it after my Plus R addiction eventually wears off. Highly recommend this game for people who want to know what older Street Fighter games are all about. Even if you don't like the game, at least you discover some great themes to listen to. Finally, on to the game that people that don't even play it but say it was amazing and revolutionized the genre. I've been hearing about this game ever since I started playing fighting games, but until now I never had the chance to experience it. After playing it for a good bit, I can say it's a solid, albeit different Street Fighter experience. The parry mechanic does change up a lot on how I played the game, for better or worse. The addition of a grounded dash makes this one faster paced compared to the other Street Fighters, and that still holds true even compared to the modern ones. There is still a heavy focus on the ground game, making certain characters incredibly strong while others not so much. You have an extra option dealing with fireballs with the parry system, making it a small risk reward depending on what happens. I enjoy the parry system regarding the ground game, but my issues with it come from in the air. In every other Street Fighter I've played, if I see someone jump, I can use my anti-air or DP, and for the most part, I'll win the exchange. This one makes it so doing an anti-air becomes a 50-50 on whether or not they're going to parry. It kind of feels terrible calling out the opponent for jumping, but I still get punished in the end. If I do notice my opponent is going for air parries a lot, then I'll try to refrain and just grab them when they come down. But it's tempting to just anti-air them every time because that's how it usually is. Other than that, the parry system leads to some really cool moments, and it's clear why people enjoy it so much. Like I mentioned earlier, Chun was the main character I used while picking Ken every now and then. Everyone says she's really good, and I gotta agree. She has great normals and a super that's great for whip punishing or confirming into. She has moves at low crush and spinning bird kick for a decent reversal, a decent anti-air in her medium kick, and a great low with her crouching medium kick. I've never really played Chun before this game, so learning her felt new and made me want to try her out in newer installments. This one is the easiest game to play on Fightcade due to how many people are playing, all with varying degrees of skill. There is a letter ranking system in Fightcade, but it's not the most accurate, so I never let it bother me much. I slightly prefer Alpha 2, but I had more time with Third Strike, so I ended up getting more experience in it. So yeah, it's pretty easy to see I'm a big fan of what Fightcade is doing, and I now have a few more fighting games to mess around with, which is always a good thing. I prefer having a variety of games to play at any given point. Sticking with one game for years isn't really my style. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So after playing Fightcade for a bit, I gotta say, I played Vampire Savior a lot more, and that one seems definitely more up my style. It's way more fast-paced, and the characters are just so damn cool. And Felicia's just a really fun character to play with. I haven't touched KOF 2002 at all, like I mentioned before. It's just, I don't know, I just don't like how it feels to play. Third Strike I still play a decent amount. Alpha 2 not as much though. Maybe it's because there's just more people playing Third Strike, I don't know. I still, I'm 50-50 on the parry system. But VSAV is just really fun. I don't know what to say. That's probably not my new favorite game on Fightcade, VSAV. But yeah, thanks for listening.